yesterday was the deadline for teams to tender players who were eligible contracts. And the Yankees decided to non tender three players, and the Brewers decided to non tender a former Cy Young candidate, a multi time All Star, someone who is a really interesting option for the Yankees. So, first, the three players that the Yankees decided to non tender were Albert Abreu, Anthony Maishwich, and Lou Trevino. So, three players right there, all pitchers, and it just clears up some room on the 40-man roster, and it adds to the potential budget for the Yankees next year. It's just good to non-tender these guys. You want to make sure you have fresh players in the organization. Trevino would have made $5 million or something for the Yankees, and he hasn't pitched in over a year, and he wasn't really that great when he did pitch, so makes sense there. An interesting player the Yankees did not non-tender is Kyle Higashioka. Um, the Yankees have like six catchers on their 40-man roster. You would have thought one of them would have been non-tendered, and Higgy just made a lot of sense to be that guy. But nope, the Yankees have decided to keep him, so he's going to get a couple $1 million next year. And if I had to guess, the Yankees are going to try to trade him. They likely believe he has some trade value, which is why they gave him a contract, so they can try to trade him to a team. We'll have to see what happens there, but the Yankees' catching situation is still really complicated. Now, the big news, though, and the main story that came out of all the players getting non-tendered was with the Brewers and Brandon Woodruff. Now, Brandon Woodruff had one more year on his contract until free agency, and he was projected to make around $11 million. Now, Woodruff is one of the best pitchers in baseball. From 2020 to 2023, he has had a 2.76 ERA, a whip under 1, just one of the best starters in MLB, plain and simple. The issue is that he's undergone shoulder surgery because he was injured a lot in 2023. So he's going to miss all of 2024, which is why the Brewers non-tendered him, because they weren't going to pay him $11 million just to, not play. It wouldn't make sense. So he's a free agent now, and it could be an interesting option for the Yankees, because Woodruff, I just said the stats there, ERA under 3 since 2020. He has been one of the best starters in MLB. It could be interesting to see if they give him a contract around 2 to 3 years, and you're just paying that first year where he's not going to pitch at all, so you get a potential Cy Young candidate for the next couple of years at a really cheap cost, because he's not going to get a massive contract, because a team's going to be paying him for a season just to eat salary, not pitch. And then you have the risk implicated with him coming off of a shoulder surgery and all that. So it's a really interesting idea of whether or not the Yankees should pursue this. I mean, it kind of makes a lot of sense. The Yankees kept Frankie Montas last year. He was making $7.5 million just in case he would pitch for a month or two at the end of the season. Lou Trevino, who they just non-tendered, he was getting paid $4 million to potentially pitch the last 2 months of the season out of the bullpen. You have Brandon Woodruff. You give him a 2 to 3 year deal where, yeah, you eat that first year, but then you're paying him at a really cheap cost for someone who has been a Cy Young caliber pitcher. That makes a lot of sense if the Yankees were willing to do that with Frankie Montas, with Lou Trevino. If they're willing to pay a guy while he's injured so they can get the rewards when he's healthy. This is a really interesting option here for the Yankees. If they get Woodruff, I think they still should get Yamamoto. I think he's someone that you get and you just hope that it works out. You don't build anything off of it, though. You go, hopefully we get a Cy Young candidate in Brandon Woodruff, but worst case, we just have someone who's not going to pitch for a year, and then will eat innings. Won't be a great pitcher, but will eat innings for a year or two. So, it's an interesting decision to make for the Yankees. High risk, high reward, gonna cost a good bit of money. He'll get a probably 12, $13 million per season on a 2 to 3 year deal. So, not a cheap contract, but not crazy expensive for the potential value. It seems like something that just makes sense for the Yankees, given how much money they have, given their financial status. They're one of the teams that can take a contract like that for the potential reward. So, 3 Yankees non-tendered, Brandon Woodruff non-tendered by the Brewers. Tell me what you think of all this in the comments.